Welcome into Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. It's a mailbag, as promised. First up from Kick and Wing, love the pun there. With the Bengals drafting 2 wide receivers and Burrow coming up for a big contract, will the Bengals be able to keep Chase, Higgins, and Boyd? If they wanted to, they could find a way to make that work, keep those 3 as their young receivers. Will they? I'd be pretty shocked. Ja'Marr Chase is not going anywhere, obviously. The Bengals want to retain Tee Higgins. I'm sure they would like to keep Tyler Boyd. If he wants to play for a super cheap contract, he could stick around. But I suspect, much like, guys like Marvin Jones in the past, that Tyler Boyd will be able to find more money and more playing time elsewhere. And in particular with what they invested in Charlie Jones, I think the Bengals are okay with that. That is not a slight against Tyler Boyd, but his numbers have dropped over the last 4 seasons. The catches have gone down. The yards have gone down. Do you need to be paying your number 3 wide receiver, let's say even just like $7 million, when you're going to be paying Chase and Higgins big money? I don't really think so. I think in particular, Ja'Marr Chase, 100% locked to stay. Tee Higgins, I'm going to go like 70% chance he sticks around. I think they'll find a way to make that work. Boyd, maybe 20. I think it's a lot more likely he's playing elsewhere this time next year. If you guys want more mailbags in the future, if you enjoy having your questions answered, and we get to talk ball here, then like today's video. Still trying to figure out what videos you guys want. Likes help me figure out what you enjoy. So if you want more mailbags, like today's video right now. From Ben Smith, I've seen stories about an Aaron Donald trade. Should the Bengals get him, if only to keep him off of the Chiefs or Bills or another contender? Interesting point to include the Chiefs or Bills, keeping Donald away from there to help your own chances. I think Donald's cost in a trade would probably be too much to potentially throw big money at and try to balance and be like, oh, we're keeping him away, so we're going to give him the huge draft capital required to get him and the contract stuff. That's not more of a defensive move to make, even though he plays on defense. That's more of an aggressive offensive type of move to go acquire somebody. If you could get Aaron Donald, I think all 31 of the teams would at least explore the cost. He probably only has 2 years left in his deal, and I love DJ Reader. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Donald's better than DJ Reader is. B.J. Hill now becomes your 3rd defensive tackle. You buy some more time for Zachary Carter to potentially grow and improve, etc. You add Aaron Donald, this defense is the best in the NFL. I think that's the level of impact you could expect out of Aaron Donald. Now, it would cost you 1, most likely, and a little bit more. It might not fit their plans with the timing and the impact from that perspective that makes it a little bit tricky. But it'd be a fun addition, right? It's maybe more of a Madden-style all-in move, but it actually could work out if you were the Bengals. You could find a way to make that work from a money perspective. So what would you guys do? In the event Donald's available, I'm still not fully convinced he is. Would you trade for him? Y for yes, N for no. It's today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. From Sibo Golo, not sure how to pronounce that one there either, Sibo. I would trade Jonah Williams for just about anyone that isn't owed more than his contract. That would be your big saving point for Jonah Williams. It's that I think this goes back to when he first requested the trade. You weren't going to get that much back in a trade for Jonah Williams. You were never going to command more than maybe a late-ish round pick because of the contract. About $12 million is what he's owed. That is a huge red flag, and I think that's why the Bengals later talk with the Jags. I'm not sure how far those conversations really got, and I think it's also why he's sticking around most likely as your right tackle. Now, Bengals hats are still on sale, perfect for the summer because if you're like me, you have very sensitive eyes because they're blue, and then the sun gets in and you just want to have something blocking it. Plus, it helps avoid, I'm a very much white boy, so I tend to burn pretty easily. Chatsports.com/Bengals hats. Help keep you cool in the summer. They also have the T-shirt hat combo pack. This is the best deal over on Fanatics as far as I'm concerned. Chatsports.com/Bengals hats. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Get yourself a hat or maybe a headband as well. The Joe Burrow style ones. And we have some Joe Burrow questions coming up here as well. But remember, get them on to up to 40% off. Chatsports.com/Bengals hats. Now, Clay Gilman has a long question here, so we'll read it all off, or statement maybe. You said Higgins is a 1,000-yard receiver, and I have to disagree with that. I know what we've seen over the last 2 years, but that's because he's part of this amazing group. If he was on a different team as a number 1 wide receiver, he would go well past that. I love what he adds to the team. Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase are quite different. Having both of them on the same team is amazing. It really makes things easier as an offensive coordinator and as a quarterback. I don't want to see the Bengals give up on that for the foreseeable future. So overall, Clay, I completely agree with you. I have said actually multiple times on this show that Higgins, over the beginning of his career, has been basically a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't mean that as a negative thing, though. That's actually a positive. There's a very short list of wide receivers who have been able to go for 1,000 yards, even on average, in their first 3 seasons. I mean, you can look at what guys like CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, etc. have done. They've put up about 1,000-yard campaigns, sometimes a little bit less. When I've made those comments about Higgins, that is not meant to be viewed as a bad thing. That's a good thing. Having a 1,000-yard receiver who's your second best receiver is awesome. That's actually a little bit rare in the NFL, and it puts him in, I think, an elite grouping. That's why I've advocated for paying Higgins like a top 10 wide receiver, because I think he has that caliber of impact for the Bengals. For more Bengals mailbags, plus news, rumors, trades, etc., make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/BengalsTV. Next up from Zombie Alice, which kind of sounds like an IPA that I would absolutely hate. It says, not even for real a hot take, but I think Burrow wins MVP this season. It's not a hot take, my friend. Burrow is among the betting favorites to an NFL MVP this upcoming season. No surprise that Patrick Mahomes is plus 650 to win that award. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, both plus 800. Jalen Hurts also at the same odds there. I think that's because he plays in the NFC, played in the AFC, and has a tougher path to get in that number 1 seed. Might not be up there quite as high. I would love a Joe Burrow MVP season. I think he's certainly that caliber of quarterback. I think he's number 2 in the NFL. Sorry, Josh Allen. I think Burrow's better. Tough to win the award with Mahomes in the same conference, but I think at some point Joe Burrow does win an NFL MVP award. He's been so good so quickly in his NFL career. So what do you guys think? Is this the year that Joe Burrow wins NFL MVP? 1 for yes, he comes in first. 2nd, he comes in no. Comes in not first. Sound off in the comments. From Steve Logan, barring catastrophic injuries this year, the Bengals have a possibility of winning every game this season. 20-0, Super Bowl champions. Your thoughts? Thanks. Can they potentially win every game this year? Sure. Do I think they're going to? No. I think that's asking too much, even though I do believe the Bengals are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. It's not necessarily an easy schedule. Like, they have the NFC West crossover game, so Seahawks, Niners, Cardinals, and Rams probably aren't very good. You still have to play a very tough AFC North. Those games are tough. If you sweep the division, you're on cloud 9. If you lose a game, you're probably still really happy. You also have to play the Jags and Chiefs in other crossover games. So it is not the easiest of schedules this year. And by the way, even if you don't go 20, that's fine. The Bengals probably won't be favored in every game, but they'll be favored in all but like 3 of them or 4 of them potentially. They're going to have a great season. I think they win the division, but I don't think they go undefeated. I think that's too much to ask for in the modern-day NFL. So I want you guys to predict the Bengals' record this year. How many games will they win? Is it going to be 13, 12, 11? I think it's somewhere in that range. Get those predictions in for me in the comment section right now.